Boom! Yes, folks, Hume again. How are you doing? So we continue in our series, the election selection, where we profile marginal seats with a view to trying to get a sense of what might be taking place on the ground in the lead up to the 2020 general election, and having some idea of what may happen on the night itself when the votes are being counted. Of course, with these things, you never know what could happen, so we don't want to fall into the trap of referring to what we do here as predictions. We're not predicting anything. We're projecting a possible result on the basis of certain trends over the past few electoral cycles. And then, of course, we always have to add certain non-numerical factors, certain non-numerical variables, which we will probably discuss a little more after we finish the numerical analysis. All right? So we're in the phase now where we finish the numerical analysis, and then we could always indulge in the non-numerical analysis. Who knows? So, in the previous video, we would have had a ranking of the marginal seats from 14 all the way up to 1. Alright? Now, the interesting thing about my list, as I have it here, the rankings based on the calculations, is that the bottom 7, alright, Tobago West, Arima, Tobago East, Aberdeen, Mera, Shogunas East, Lupino, Bonaire West, and Point Epe. For the most part, those 7 seats we could comfortably place either in the P&M column or the UNC column. And I would have gone through each of those in a series of videos leading up to this one. The top 7 is where the action starts to get tight, is where the heat start to enter the picture, where the things start to get hot. Alright? So, the top 7, Barataria San Juan, Lahokita Talparo, Toco, Sangre, Grande, Tunapuna, St. Joseph, San Fernando West, and Moruga Tabela. These 7 seats, if everything else holds, if nothing out of the ordinary takes place in the other 34 seats, then these 7 seats are the seats that ultimately will decide the general election in 2020. Alright? And the interesting thing about it is that we have already covered Lahokita, Talparo, and Barataria San Juan. So if we take those 2 out, alright, we get a situation now where we down to a best of 5. Alright? Now, up to the bottom of the first 7 in my list. So at 34 seats, we had 17-17, believe it or not, P&M UNC. Then we split Barataria San Juan and Lahokita Talparo 1-1. We put Lahokita Talparo in the P&M column and we put Barataria San Juan in the UNC column. That takes us to 18-18 at 36 seats. Good? So again, barring any major development on the ground, then based on the numbers that we have before us, we could see ourselves in an 18-18 position with 5 seats left to count. And that is where the election will be decided. Alright? So I'm going to start going through the remaining 5 seats in this video with Toco, Sangre, Grande. And of course, as I usually do, I give the projection first and then we talk about the numbers after. So my projection for Toco, Sangre, Grande, based on the numbers that I have here before me, is that Toco, Sangre, Grande should, on the basis of all available evidence up to this point, be won by the P&M in 2020. Alright? Again, unless something earth-shattering happens, unless something big happens on the ground that, you know, that will run counter to all the patterns that we've seen so far, we expecting that Toco, Sangre, Grande would fall into the P&M column on the night of August the 10th. So I will put Toco, Sangre, Grande in the P&M column. So it means then at this stage my latest count will be 19 to the P&M and 18 to the UNC. That's 35 seats out of the way. 6 more to go. Alright, so we're going to go across the graph now and just go through the figures as we usually do, and then we end up with a little talk. Alright, so this is the graph we have here before us. Toco, Sangre, Grande, P&M versus non-P&M, 2007 to 2015. So in 2007, we would have had 57.1% for the P&M, 42.3% for the non-PNM coalition. In 2010, we had the non-PNM coalition gaining the victory with a percentage of 52% and the PNM with 47.7%. And then in 2015, we would have had the PNM going up to 59% and the non-PNM coalition dropping back down to 41%. Alright, so we see some pretty big swings here from 57.1 to 47.7 for the PNM between 2007 and 2010, and then from 47.7 back up to 59.0 between 2010 and 2015. On the flip side, for the non-PNM coalition, we have a rise of from 42.3% to 52%, that's almost 10%, from 2007 to 2010, and then we have an 11% drop from 52 to 41 in between 2010 and 2015. All right. Now, based on the trend lines generated by these data points here, my projection has the PNM at 56.5% in 2020. That's this point here, and the non-PNM coalition at 43.7% here. So in that case, it would represent an increase from 41 to 43.7% if that pattern holds, and in the case of the PNM, it would represent a drop from 59 to 56.5% if this mathematical pattern holds. Alright, so we're going to go back to the whiteboard now and conclude the video with a little discussion further to all of this. Good. So you see what happened there. Alright, and just as we would expect in the normal run of politics, where we have an incumbent and we have certain pockets of disaffection, and Sangre Grande has been and is a constituency right at this moment where, leading up to the announcement of the election date, we would have seen certain pockets of disaffection within the camp of the ruling PNM. Right now, if it is that my projection holds, where the PNM percentage actually drops from 59% to 56.5%, then yes, you could see that from a mathematical standpoint, lining up with the events that we would have seen taking place on the ground. All right, and by the same token, if the mathematical model holds up, where the non-PNM coalition would rise from 41% to 43.7%, yeah, we see a small rise, a small uptick in the number of non-PNM votes. Again, that could be an expression of some level of disaffection with the ruling party. Again, if it's something we feel on the ground, then the mathematical model will show that. But as we would have seen, and as people may be feeling on the ground, we don't know. All right, but we've seen it definitely in the graph. The drop in the PNM percentage and the rise in the non-PNM percentage, if the mathematical model holds, wouldn't be enough to overturn the result from 2015. So again, we're expecting, based on the maths we have here and based on the available knowledge that we have so far of the non-mathematical variables, we're expecting that the PNM would win Toco Sangre Grande in 2020. Alright, so again, just to wrap up, the count at this stage is 19 for the PNM, 18 for the non-PNM. Alright, and that's basically it. We don't really have too much more to say about Toco Sangre Grande except to wait for the results on the 10th of August. And of course, as I always do with the marginal constituency videos, I would like to just close up with a very short discussion where the mathematics for CSEC is concerned. Alright, so people of Sangre Grande, people of Sangre Grande, people of Toco, people of Toco, Sangre Grande and all surrounding regions. Alright, I want to encourage you all again, where the CSEC mathematics exam is concerned, those of you who do the exam in January, start lining up your ducks now. Don't wait until your registration in late August or early September to start your preparation. Your preparation is a different discussion from your registration. right? And ideally your preparation should start long before your registration. And you have an opportunity to start your preparation at this point, even if you haven't organized any face-to-face lessons or whatever it is. You know, everybody have the system where they go for lessons or whatever, right? We have the online platform, You Road to January 2021, by me, by Hume. Alright, we have the online platform. You could WhatsApp the number on the screen, 293-5712, and get all the information you need. Alright, the price is very, very cheap. We almost giving it away. And again, the reason why I'm giving it away is because I'm going out of the way to not make money a problem at this stage of the game. Alright, because you know, coming out of COVID, you know, you might be talking to somebody and you might be trying to encourage them to go and do your maths or whatever it is. And one of the barriers that people like to throw up is money. Alright? So with me, we're making money a non-issue because the cost is $500 for the remainder of 2020. So in other words, the main thing that you have to put out is your time and not your money. And that is what it is at the end of the day, ultimately. Because there's a certain quantum of time, a certain quantum of effort that you have to put out. That no matter how much money you pay, that is between you and the maths. Alright, you had to get up in the morning or clear time during the day or whatever it is. Alright, so at this point we give you a small money fee. Yes, we will raise the price a little later, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Alright, and of course for the people who do it ad maths, stay close, don't go too far. We have something coming up for you as well. Alright, so basically I'm just announcing the availability of my online platform for those of you who do the exam in January 2021, and even if you're doing it in June, you could come through as well. Alright, the website itself has a lot more information as to what is offered, and on the website you could actually see a whole list of the videos that we have there so far. So I would encourage you, go on the website, check it out, alright, and then contact me at 293-5712 to get on board. Let me start the preparation now. Alright, we would have already covered Pythagoras theorem, we would have already covered trigonometry. We start in straight lines this week coming up here. And while we're doing that, we're dealing up with the algebra, and we're going back to the question 1, where we're talking about ratios and percentages and profit and loss and all them other topics. Alright, we have videos on significant figures and decimal places and standard form and thing too. There's a lot of material in there right now as we speak. We even have multiple choice in there too. Alright, worked out multiple choice questions in a nice paper 2 format, so you could look at the multiple choice and approach it as if you were in a paper 2 exam. Alright, but go on the website to get more information. So that's it for now. Toco, Sangre, Grande, election selection. Stay in tune, stay on board, spread the word, and look out. We have plenty more coming your way.